nowadays you got to have that because people nowadays.
Before we get straight into the podcast, I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, Declan Kirby GAA Star. Declan Kirby GAA Star Championship Journey. It's a series of GAA team children's books written by primary school teacher and GAA coach Michael Egan. You can check it out in the link in the description down below, of course, as well. Follow the trials and tribulations of Declan Kirby and his team at Smithgreen Gaelic Football Club, recently formed but promising GAA team. The book is now available in Easons and all good bookshops, so check it out in the description down below, and let's get straight into it. What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. I hope you're all keeping wonderfully well. My name is Aaron and this is the fan reaction show. We're going to be looking at all the reaction to Meaths All-Ireland Senior Ladies Football Championship win yesterday over Dublin. Their very first All-Ireland Senior Football Championship win. I mean, an incredible achievement from the Meath ladies. And as I said in the match reaction last night, I mean, what a story, an incredible story, and probably the biggest underdog story in GAA history in many ways. Like, when you think about it, 2 years ago they lost the intermediate All-Ireland final. In fact, even a year before that, they lost in the All-Ireland intermediate final. Back in 2015, they lost to Cork by a scoreline of 7-22 to 3 points. I mean, that is unbelievable stuff. It's extraordinary stuff. And, you know, to think after that final, they actually, you know, wanted to go back down to intermediate level to restructure themselves and to try find a way to bring more players through and to kind of work your way up. And it is the biggest underdog story, arguably, in the GAA. I mean, you could look at maybe some club sides, and I know some club teams before have gone from intermediate level up to All-Ireland level and have won club All-Irelands, and there's always a story out there, and I'm sure some very passionate club fans will let me know down in the comments below when their club produced a massive miracle or a huge achievement like that. But to do it at inter-county level, absolutely extraordinary stuff. It really, really is. And as always, I'm here to look at all the reaction. And these videos have done quite well on the channel actually recently. So I thought, you know what, let's make another one. Let's continue on the path of these kind of videos and this kind of content. And let's look at all the reaction, all the tweets, all the social media posts from players, journalists, fans, ex-players, ex-ladies players, senior players as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And if you are new around here, first of all, if you could leave a like and subscribe, I would kindly appreciate it, on the path to 2,000 subscribers. And I do appreciate any recent comments, likes or anything like that. I do appreciate all the support the channel is getting recently. So if we could continue along that path and maybe hit 2K by the end of the year, that would certainly be a huge achievement for myself. That was a personal goal of myself at the start of the year I set out to hit. So if we could, you know, achieve it, we're not too far away, about 200 subscribers away. So if we could hit that by the end of the year, that would be a fantastic achievement. But yeah, look, listen, let's crack straight into it. And first of all, we've Joe Brolly, who says, ferocious, composed performance by Meath ladies to beat the 4-in-a-row champions in a hard stopping game. Yeah, it was. I mean, look, listen, the amount of energy they showed and the passion that they showed, and it was just such a well coached, well-drilled team. I mean, Vicky Wall on the ball at times, the way she was driving at players, the way she was overlapping, running at players, creating extra space, it was extraordinary stuff. And physically they matched Dublin as well, and I think that was one of the most impressive things, was like if Dublin threw a big hit or got physical or, you know, threw a big shoulder, Meath were very well able to take it and very well able to throw it back and, you know, get back up on the pitch and still play their game. Like, they weren't thwarted by any of that kind of, you know, stuff that was going on the pitch. And even as a Dublin fan, you can't stop, you know, you can't discredit that achievement in any ways. Like, just extraordinary stuff from Meath. And as Joe Brolly says here, very ferocious, composed, and like what we said with the accuracy. I mean, in yesterday's video, I think they had 75% accuracy in front of goal. They were so patient in front of goal as well. Like, they didn't rush chances, they didn't, you know, misplace passes or make unforced errors. They were always patient on the ball, they were always calm on the ball, and they did look like a team that have played in a lot of All-Ireland finals in the past couple of years. And I think playing in those intermediate finals, it really did stand to them actually in that All-Ireland final, because they were just very composed. And even in the second half at certain stages, they would slow the game down, take the sting out of the game, deny Dublin on the ball as well. Incredible stuff from Meath. Kieran Donaghy says, what a win, Meath ladies football. Talk about the perfect All-Ireland for Meath. Took out the standard bearers of the ladies game over the last 15 years in Cork and Dublin. Enjoy it, girls. Soak up every last ounce of enjoyment for as long as you can. Absolutely. And not only did they beat Cork and Dublin, but they beat Armagh as well in the quarterfinals, and that was a very good Armagh side. A lot of people probably had them as maybe a team that could potentially go on and win the All-Ireland. You know, they've probably one of the best players in the country in Amy Mackin, and obviously Meath went and beat them, and then they beat Cork, and then they beat Dublin. So there was no easy way to win this All-Ireland, and it really is like a fairy tale stuff. It's like something you'd see in a movie in many ways, like going from, losing 2 intermediate finals, you then win the intermediate championship a year later, and then go and win the senior championship as well. I mean, extraordinary stuff. And as Kieran Donaghy says, they should enjoy it, and absolutely, there's no bigger achievement than that, and incredible stuff. Bernard Flynn said this is a superhuman effort from the Meath ladies versus Dublin ladies. Heroic in every sense of the word from the girls in green. Their defence has been sensational. Absolutely. In the second half, they were so impressive. Just really, really impressive from a Meath point of view, you'd have to say. I mean, like the way they swarmed on Dublin, they cut off those attacking lanes as well. They got in front of some of Dublin's attackers like Sinead Ahern and Hannah Tyrrell. They cut off the opportunities for Dublin to even shoot for goal. I mean, I don't think Dublin played that badly necessarily, but Meath were just so good in defence. They were just cutting off those areas of space that Dublin could run into, and I think that was something that was so impressive about Meath in the second half. Like, they only scored 3 points in the second half, and yet they still won the game by 2, and that showed just how well defensively they done, because they just stopped Dublin, they limited Dublin. And even in the final 6 to 7 minutes, when Dublin just started to get a flurry of points and really come into the game, and you got the feeling that Dublin might just be able to come back here, they still had the composure to slow the game down, to get people back behind the ball, and to really nullify Dublin in attack. So incredible stuff from a Meath point of view, and what a phenomenal achievement, and what a brilliant defensive display. Shane Stapleton says, what a brilliant ladies football final in Trawlin to the end. Congrats to Meath and the composed way they saw it out. Dublin gave it everything. Yeah, Dublin did give it everything, to be fair, and definitely in the closing few minutes, I did feel like with Dublin's experience of winning All-Irelands, the fact they've come from behind before in the past against Mayo, and we've seen them even do it against Donegal in the quarterfinals, I felt like they'd have that experience and those players there, even to come off the bench and make an impact, and it certainly did look like Dublin were going to do so. They brought it down to 2 points, and you were thinking just one more chance, one more goal chance, maybe we'll get another point, and maybe then, we'll have a huge opportunity and maybe leveling the game and bringing it to extra time. But it wasn't meant to be. Meath just done a fantastic job. There was even a few late half chances for Dublin, but Meath were just always in the right places at the right time. Their defenders were getting the blocks in. The likes of Emma Duggan tracking back, Vicky Wall as well, Niamh O'Sullivan, all coming back into defence to cut off those attacking lanes and to get in behind Dublin's attack. So yeah, I mean, it was brilliant stuff from Meath, and they just really did stop Dublin at everything good that Dublin normally do. Like what I said before, I mean, Dublin did give it everything. I don't think it was a poor performance. I don't think it was bad. We definitely struggled in the first half with the kick out. There's no doubt about that. And we've seen on a number of occasions Meath were turning Dublin over, and Emma Duggan even said herself in a post-match interview, like, they wanted to push up on Dublin's kickouts because they felt that Dublin hadn't been tested with the kickouts this year, and it worked perfectly, and that was obviously where Emma Duggan's goal came from. So yeah, Meath's game plan worked perfectly, tactically, brilliant job by Meath, and Dublin unfortunately coming up short. Brian McDonald says this from Mary Hannigan on the journey travelled by the Meath ladies footballers is great stuff. In 2016 they were beaten 722 to 03, 40-point defeat by Cork, and on Sunday they were crowned as the All-Ireland champions. I mean, yeah, extraordinary stuff. I mean, I always felt like that defeat was in 2015, but maybe it was 2016, my mistake. I mean, yeah, 40 points. I mean, to think about it, like, that's just, it's unheard of. Like, can you think of, you look at, like, let's look at the men's senior championship at the moment, like Mayo, who absolutely hammered Leitrim. A lot of people, if they were to restructure the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship, Leitrim would probably, in his junior, maybe you'd have to say intermediate at a stretch. And it would be like them going on to win the All-Ireland. And maybe some people will say the gap is bigger. But Dublin had won 4 in a row. I mean, Cork were dominant for years after years as well. I mean, they won 6 All-Irelands in a row at one point as well. They've still a lot of All-Ireland winners in that team. You've a brilliant Armagh side. You've Mayo in there as well. Galway are another good team. So the fact that they went and done that, it's incredible. Like, you just do not see that in the GAA. This doesn't normally happen. So, unbelievable stuff. And like what I said before, it would genuinely be like a Leitrim or a Sligo, maybe even a Longford, doing something incredible and going from tier 2 all the way up to the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship and winning it. Extraordinary stuff, and maybe it does show that if they were to bring something like that into the men's game, maybe an intermediate championship, a junior championship, and then a senior championship, it could work. Because, I mean, look, listen, I'm not going to say that counties are going to start doing this, but I mean, that's an example right there, and it will give a lot of inspiration to a lot of teams across the GAA, in my opinion. And former Cork All-Ireland winner herself, Bridge Stack, says, what a day for the Meath machine. One of the most energetic and cohesive team performances from start to finish. And to do it on the day when it mattered most, a fairy tale final. Yeah, I mean, and to think they came from behind against Cork as well, and, you know, dramatic circumstances late on in that semi-final after extra time. And I actually had Bridge Stack on the podcast when we were previewing the ladies football semi-finals, and like, Meath were the unknown quantity. They were certainly a side that not a lot of teams have faced before. Cork had the pleasure of playing them already in the group stages and they beat them. But Dublin, for example, you know, haven't played Meath, wouldn't have played a lot against a lot of these players before, at least that, you know, in the senior championship anyway. So to go and beat, you know, to go and play a side like that you haven't faced before, that are pressing up on kickouts, that are getting their cornerbacks forward, that are, you know, getting a lot of players back in defence and cutting off passing lanes. I mean, Dublin wouldn't have faced something like that before. Cork wouldn't have faced something like that before. And I think that's what, you know, was something incredible, really. And as Bridge says here, to do it on the day when it mattered most, absolutely. I mean, they were so efficient in front of goal. They took their opportunities. They waited for the right opportunities to come. And when they did come, they took them. And that was something that was definitely most impressive for Meath. Cora Staunton says, huge congrats to Meath ladies football. Happy to admit that I got it very wrong. Didn't see that coming. Huge credit to Eamon Murray and his team. Enjoy celebrations. What a super team performance. Special mention to Niamh O'Sullivan, that is my player of the game. Unbelievable performance. Yeah, what a fantastic performance from Niamh O'Sullivan. Very much the track and back as well. You know, the playmaker in many ways in the side as well, picking out passes, getting a couple of scores as well. Incredible stuff from Niamh O'Sullivan, no doubt about it. And she was incredibly impressive. And as Cora Staunton says, I mean, a lot of people would have got their predictions wrong, including myself. You know, I would have tipped Dublin coming into this game, no doubt about it. They were the side that had won 4 All-Irelands in a row, that had beaten sides like Cork and Mayo over the past couple of years, that certainly had what it takes to win All-Irelands, has the experience. Meath had experience winning intermediate level, but, you know, Meath wouldn't have faced a side like Dublin before. And, you know, they just rose to the occasion and they caused all sorts of shocks and surprises, and certainly something that a lot of people didn't see coming, which is why it does make it as one of the best underdog stories in the GAA. Rory Stories, he says, Vicky Wall was some leader for me today, gave the final few words in the team huddle, grabbed the ball in the throw, drove straight through the middle, felled, handy free, and Meath never looked back. What a bunch of role models now. Their belief is unbelievable. Absolutely. And I think the most impressive thing from a Meath point of view, and even for myself as a Dublin fan, was that, you know, Meath stuck to the game plan. You know, they didn't go away from the game plan, and they didn't go away from what they're good at. And sometimes you see in All-Ireland finals, you know, at men's level, at ladies level, even at club level, county finals, all the rest, when it's a big occasion, and, you know, when you haven't got that experience of winning big All-Ireland finals before, sometimes maybe you won't make that extra run, sometimes maybe you won't play that pass or take that opportunity that looks a little bit unlikely to score from, because, you know, you're in fear that maybe it won't work out or you won't be successful doing so. And because it's an All-Ireland final, you might retract from, you know, doing something like that again, because you don't want to put your team at risk. And that's sometimes why you can see a lot of cautious finals happen a lot of the time, not just in Gaelic football and ladies football and hurling, but actually in all sports. And soccer, you know, it happens all the time where you see 0-0 finals, 1-0 finals, because a lot of teams don't want to make that mistake because it's such a big occasion. But that didn't happen for Meath. I mean, they did not worry about that at all. They went out and played as if this was a semi-final or a quarter-final, and that's not to disrespect them or anything like that. That's just to say that they didn't have any fear whatsoever. They drove at Dublin when Vicky Wall got the ball straight away on the front foot, straight away trying to create spaces, and it was so impressive. It really, really was. And like, the fact that their manager, in my opinion, like Eamon Murray, like, what a job he's done. Incredible stuff, and has to be manager of the year in the GAA all across the board. I mean, and you would wonder, maybe the Meath senior men's might have a look at him over the next couple of years, because what an achievement he's done there for Meath. and extraordinary stuff. And to follow up what I was saying, Mick Carton says Vicky Wall is one of the best runners with ball in hand you'll ever see. The Dubs just can't stop her, bouncing off her. Dubs need a goal. Yeah, and this was obviously tweeted during the game, and Dublin certainly did need a goal, but they just didn't really create many chances. There was one opportunity where they did force a save, but certainly creating those goal opportunities was very few and far between. And as John Egan says here, Vicky Wall greater than Trevor Giles. Yeah, I mean, extraordinary stuff, wasn't it? And you know, it does just highlight for me that I think she very much has to be Ladies Footballer of the Year, which, and considering she was Intermediate Footballer of the Year last year, you know, she might be, I'd say she probably is the first ever player to win Intermediate Footballer of the Year and then Senior Footballer of the Year. Extraordinary stuff. Sinead Kassan says, one of the best stories of the year. What an awesome Meath performance. First ever Senior All-Ireland final. Thrilling football. Vicky Wall, Emma Duggan, etc. Stars of the now. And Tom O'Connor also says here, build a statue of Emma Duggan. Yeah, I mean, that goal was incredible stuff. And I did see her interview after the game, and she said, you know, she was going for the goal, and I think you have to take her at face value and believe her for it, because it was an extraordinary goal. And I think she probably did see Ciara Trant a little bit off her line and said, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for the lob. And what's the worst thing that can happen? Maybe I'll hit the crossbar, or maybe it'll go over the bar. And in the end, you know, she got the full package by getting the goal. So she was incredible as well. Like, again, you know, much like Niamh O'Sullivan and Vicky Wall, the driving forward, the getting into the pockets of space, tracking back as well when she needed to. Brilliant stuff. And with a goal like that, it is fairy tale stuff. The fact that Meath won by 2 points and that was the goal, that was the difference. Yeah, I mean, fairy tale stuff when you even look at it that way as well. But anyway, lads, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you do enjoy this content, then stay tuned for more videos, podcasts, interviews coming soon. We'll certainly be starting our build-up for the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship final between Mayo and Tyrone. That's happening on Saturday. There'll be a tactical breakdown of the game. There'll be podcasts. There'll be a number of content coming out now over the next week. And I'm going to be honest, I have no idea between Mayo and Tyrone. I just cannot call that final. And when I'm doing the prediction, I just don't know. I just don't know what I'm going to go for, to be perfectly honest. But we'll wait and see what happens when that does come around. Do stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you all later.